week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael New Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last stunts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show on a holiday week, Mr. Samich. We're looking pretty festive. And we sound festive.
That's the jingle sweater, man. You can't go wrong with the nice jingle sweater with you look like Rudolph with a little hat and everything. It's actually kind of fun. I was going through Walmart today with Lily, and we were walking around, and she's in the shopping cart. I'm going by some ugly sweaters, and she's like, Dada, you got to wear that sweater. And so I bought the sweater, and then we found her little sweater. We got Jen a sweater. So we're making the best out of this holiday thing because we were supposed to be out of town seeing Jenna's parents, but we're going to stay here in North Carolina. We're doing it with my family, so we're got some ugly sweaters for this shindig, so it should be a good time.
I wish I could have seen Jenna's reaction, because you guys go, wow, it's going to be daddy-daughter, we're going to go Christmas shopping, and you come back and she goes, look, Mom, we got sweaters. And your wife's just like, oh, great.
She actually was ecstatic about it, man, because like Lily's outfit is adorable because it's this little like Santa outfit dress thing. You know, it's just a 2.5-year-old girl. She's adorable, right? So Jenna walks in and just like smiled ear to ear, and I'm like, guess what? We got you one too. And she just kind of laughed. It's because it's got the whole bells and everything across it. It's all white with like some tinsel, and so it's fun, man. You just gotta have a good time with it.
Nice. Well, no, that's good to hear. She's a good support. You showed up with your ugly sweater, and I was like, I got to put mine on. We'll see how long this lasts in the show, because it is 75 and sunny outside because it's Los Angeles, so why not? So this is probably not going to stay on a whole lot longer. I hate running the air conditioning on December 21st in this house, but, one thing or another is going to happen here by the end of the show.
Yeah, we got 34 and windy outside, so this is actually fitting for the current weather.
That one works well for you. Well, hey, if you're joining us live on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. There's almost 60 of you right now, which is awesome. Do us a quick favor. Give us a like. Give us a thumbs up and share. However it is that you can show that you're watching. Every little bit helps with the algorithm, and it'll put our videos into more people's eyes and more people's hands, and we can keep doing this for you guys. Mike, we're going to be looking at the Gulfstream Park late pick 4 from Saturday. We took a stab at it. We took a couple wild swings that didn't exactly connect, but we're here to look back about what we could learn and what we can do different. Before we get into it, what's the best thing you saw this week?
I got to be honest, man. Football at 2:30 in the afternoon. I love bowl season, and like to everything that was wonky in 2020. To have college bowls, kind of amazing. So to be able to have a football game kickoff at 2:30, see App State playing North Texas, be able to watch that during work, and like kind of lead into this, pretty pumped about that. So I'm ecstatic that we actually get the bowl season. You get some of these teams playing. Looking forward to see Army get a bowl. Hopefully they're able to play someone for all the service people overseas as well who want to see that game. And I love the bowls. And so I'm ecstatic we're getting them. And I totally didn't expect a 2:30 kickoff on a Monday workday. So pretty into that, I'm not going to lie.
It's kind of like when the college basketball tournament's going on, and it's like Tuesday, 10 a.m., 11:30, 1 o'clock. Yeah. It's just tip off.
Keeps going, baby.
Yeah. It's a great time. I don't follow the college football playoffs or the bowl season really that much. Once it really started to blow up about 10, 15 years ago, and you had like the Potato Farmers Bowl, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
good.
You have the eighth best Conference USA team versus like the seventh best MAC team. I'm like, great for them. Great for those kids, those schools to get the opportunities. That's all. I'm serious. That's all wonderful. I don't care enough to watch it, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I just like betting on it.
Well, of course, yeah. You wouldn't be Mike Samish if you didn't have a little action on it.
We got the over, need 2 more touchdowns, so I might be looking this way for football reasons during this podcast.
The best thing that I saw came in the mail recently. Check this out, man. Custom jockey silks. Look at that. Ooh, and there's yours too. I wonder where yours was at. Yours looks, okay, so it's literally a perspective thing because yours looks tiny as shit in that shot right there.
Miranda got me a very small one.
Oh, okay. She gets like a little note card size.
No, I'm kidding. It's huge.
No, but look how cool. She did this for the whole team. I was so excited. Aaron got his. His has the blues, so it looks a lot like yours, but has an A.
Yep.
You can't see it too well because of the camera, but there's a K here for Kellaward. And then it's got the Lions stripe, so she was going with the whole Lions motif, which I appreciate. They are my first love in football. But what's actually crazy is I've designed my own silks in case I ever have enough money to be an owner someday and actually pay the bills. They're actually relatively close to that. She got a pretty close guess completely by accident at what my silks would look like. So I was doubly excited by that. It wasn't just that it's really cool. I've got custom silks now I can put up somewhere in the office, but that they actually are. I can use that as a basis for when I someday can afford to actually pay the bills on a racehorse.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I like your optimism that you've already made your silks. I'm impressed. That's a way to go, Magic. I'm proud of you.
You haven't done that? You've never just said, like, even just daydreamed and just be like, oh, if I had my own silks, what would they look like? You never done that?
No, I haven't tried that one.
Really? I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know. Hey, Michael Myers is here, actually able to watch us for the first time in a while here. I bet he's done it. Mike's he's a down-to-earth Midwestern, even if his hockey allegiance isn't exactly where it should be, but...
I think you're a touch more creative than me too. I'm not the artistic type, so I'm not that guy there with drawing everything out. It would have something with orange on it. I can guarantee that. I would definitely have an orange and like black motif if I did it.
There you go. It's got to be something that you can kind of identify. It would stand out a little bit when your horse is on the track. Because if you start getting the basic colors and designs that everyone seems to use, your horse gets lost in the shuffle. I want something that's going to stand out. You'd be like that horse right there, that's Magic. Hopefully it's because that horse is winning, but either way, you're going to be like, that's Magic's horse right there that he owns.
Like the Luch stable ones, right? The lime green?
Lime green with a big purple P on it. Yeah, you cannot
miss it.
You cannot miss that. No, it's great. Well, like I said, on today's show, we're going to be looking at the Gulfstream Park Lake Pick 4 from last weekend. We're going to talk about what we learned, what we did. Mike Myers, I was right. He said he definitely does that. But we're going to take a look at that. We're going to talk about the Kentucky Derby preps. Let's get into it, Mike. Riders up. All right, pull this up. All right. Okay, 3, 2. All right, Mike, first thing we're going to take a look at, race 8 on the Gulfstream Park Saturday card. This is a field of 10 males, 3 and up. We're entered to go 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf course. Favoritism going in, succeed and surpass all the way on the outside was 5-2. Grays Creek on the rail at 3-1 was the close second choice. This is I got 2 of these 4 right, so I'm gonna wave my hand and say I got this one right. It was the Chad Brown horse on the turf that ends up being the 5-2 favorite. Grays Creek gets the job done under Tyler Gaffleone. I liked it. I want to know from you, because originally in the show, the 12 and the 1 were your last 2 that you were using this race, and then the ticket you played, you changed it a little bit, and this is why it's important to follow us on Twitter, because we're always going to change things with scratches and whatnot. You left the 1 off, so I was curious about your decision there and how you came to that.
Yeah, well, first off, Gulfstream got the better of me because they originally announced the 2 as a scratch in this race, which was my top pick, and then later updated it that it was they originally announced it was 2 and 10, and then later updated that it was 8 and 10. So I recapped the race when the 2 was out because that was the horse I was kind of leaning on, and I ended up adding the 4, which we talked about on the show because I know you like the 4 as well. And then when the 2 goes back in, I'm like, well, I'm including the 2, so I had to pick between the 1 and the 4. And I should have probably just put both of them on because it would have cost me $12. It would have been a $62 ticket, but I decided to take it. Or I'm sorry, $60 ticket. It would have cost me $10. I decided to take a stand. I left the 1 off. I flipped the Browns around. That was my main problem. This is the one that fires, the other one that isn't. And honestly, I think the mistake I made here is I should have cut the 12. We talked about how that was one of my last 2 horses in. When you're going a mile and 16th, 7.5 furlongs at Gulfstream, those outside posts are brutal. It's really, really tough to come from the 12 hole and be able to get the job done. Obviously, had a couple scratches, so the horse moved into the 10 post, but that's still wide. And when you saw the trip the 12 ended up getting, you kind of felt like that was going to be a problem. I also think that Tyler Gaffleone had a wonderful ride here on Grays Creek. This horse had not shown a ton of speed. I was concerned breaking from the 1 hole. He was going to be way back. He was able to sit close to the pace. Gaffleone did a good job getting him involved early. He was actually on the lead for some point in the first turn and then kind of backed off so that he could sit in that pocketed up trip. Horse kicked clear for home, and you pretty much knew it was over on the backstretch. When the horse broke that well and ran that well, it was a pretty tough spot for anyone to beat him. So this was one of those legs I wanted to price. I tried to get cute with leaving the 1 out here. I kind of wish I flipped the 1 for the 12. It didn't matter. My single didn't get home. And to be honest, when we talk about the third leg, I would have had to hit the all button to get to Sleepy Eyes top.
Uh-oh. Did I lose Mike, or did who lost Mike? Did I lose Mike, or did you guys lose Mike? Uh-oh. Did you guys? Am I still here? Mike's gone. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I was sitting here because this is what literally happens every time. Is that I'll pull Mike out of here. Sorry about that. This is literally what happens with my computer usually, and I figured I was, it was just me doing that again. So we'll pull Mike in. Listen, the Grays Creek, good trip, like Mike said. As soon as this horse broke well and then settled, I think that was the key. As soon as you saw him settled, you knew that this horse was going to have the best possible chance to get the job done. From there, Tyler got the right. From there, Tyler got the right trip. Michael Myers says that App State over didn't hit and his electricity went off. I think he was looking at, big hit there. Listen, this is going to sound a little bit like red boarding, but hell, that's what we used to do on this show. I was against the 12 that Mike liked, Succeed and Surpass, and I said it's because it was two reasons. It was the post. I hated that, and I said I didn't like that he hadn't won more than once in 8 tries in Southern California. We talked before about how the California turf just isn't as good as the New York turf, and so when this horse came over and was doing that, things got a little iffy. I don't think there's too much more to talk about with this race other than to defend Mike pulling up King Meister. I use King Meister. The thing with King Meister, I said, look, as soon as Shug McGahee took over this horse's training, he was doing really. He put him on turf, and this horse had never even tried to start in turf before. Bodie Meister 13% as a turf sire. But he was coming out of a race that, there's Mike. Mike's joining us again. He's coming out of a race where Empty Tomb and Backside of the Moon were 1-2. And I had said, they're headlining a stakes Saturday at Aqueduct. Well, Backside of the Moon not only won that stakes race, he got 105 buyers. So again, I can't remember the timing, but that was another reason to think maybe King Meister was a good play here in this spot. Just didn't work out for us. But Mike is back. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, no problem, man. I was bummed that King Meister didn't go to the lead. That's the reason I ended up putting this horse back in, is that I thought this was going to end up being your inside speed. I wanted the horse who was going to be more forwardly placed. And I included, I thought the 1 was going to end up way back. The 4 was going to be forwardly placed. As you saw all day, speed was good on Gulfstream's turf. And so I was trying to play through that. And unfortunately, kind of bit me in the butt here. Again, though, I'm never getting to Sleepy Eyes Todd. So I'm not too worried about missing this leg. I mean, that's just the bottom line for me. The last leg, one that I was excited about, but it kind of wasted because we couldn't get through these first 3.
Well, we'll touch on that, and I guess here's the first one that threw both of us off. This is the Via Borghese Stakes. Fillies and mares going 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf course. Really long field of 9 of them entered in here. Always Shopping was your morning line favorite at 5-2. Ends up going off as a favorite at 5-2. Great Island all the way to the 9 post was 3-1. The morning line goes off as a 3-1 second choice. You singled Great Island. I liked Great Island here in this spot. It wasn't my top choice, so I'm not even going to waive that one, but Always Shopping got the better of us. For me, I didn't think she was that hard to get to here. I just didn't. I thought she was going to be a short price, and I thought Great Island, coming off a layoff, she had to improve. Always Shopping had been hitting that 83, 84 buyer consistently, and I figured, well, she'll hit that again in this spot. It'll be good enough for second or third. Well, what happens? Always Shopping took that big jump. Great Island took that big middling move there and didn't really improve for her buyers here. So we both got this one wrong. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, again, I had this horse as 4th in for me, so it was on the deep ticket section. I just couldn't get this deep if I was going as deep as I was in the first and the third leg. And so for me, I had to take a stand somewhere. I thought all 4 of these races were a little bit difficult. We took a stand here, and I don't mind the stand I took. I feel like Great Island never looked that comfortable, being a couple wide in the first turn and then kind of being swung wide again the second turn. You kind of knew she wasn't getting there. She's also pretty green. So it'll be interesting to see Great Island come back next time out, because I have a feeling you're going to see a lot better effort second off the layoff. She looked like she got a little tired in the stretch. She was a little green down the stretch. She eventually got taken down for cutting off a horse, though. Great Island is one of those where maybe we get a nice price on her next time out, and maybe that's how you can get some benefit from this, because I do think that there's talent there. This just wasn't the trip for her. Interesting that the pace absolutely collapsed here on the 2 horse. Trapsing was looked like just way, way, way easy here. And from a lead perspective, and this horse got an easy lead and just gave it up on a day where being on the lead was a good thing at Gulfstream Park. So Trapsing definitely took a step back here. I probably am not interested in that horse again for a little while, especially if there's any type of pace pressure. And I do think that your winner, Always Shopping, here becomes a little bit more interesting. We saw this horse running graded stakes on the dirt late last year. Interesting to see that they've now gone over the turf, and she's definitely improved and taken steps forward in every race. Interested to see what the buyers come back here. I'll have to look that up, because that to me is also going to be pretty telling here. If this horse is able to run a high 80s, low 90s, then she's probably going to be a stakes horse early next year.
She got an 88 buyer for it. I can do the work for you. It's right there. 88 buyer. And this is what I was saying. If you look at these two, Great Island, 77, 81, 82. She was coming off a slight layoff since October. I was like, this is why the horse that won the first leg, Grace Creek, was my top pick. A little bit of a layoff late in the 4-year-old season. It's a Mike Samich angle. It's Chad Brown. I thought that 88 was what Great Island was going to do. So that buyer doesn't surprise me. I literally just thought that these two fillies would have swapped places here. So didn't happen there. Listen, we can move on from this one, because I don't think we both thought that Traipsing was going to be the leader. I think the big surprise is she actually was at $2.50 was the true 5-2 favorite in this race. I messed that up, but she couldn't hold on. As you said, the pace collapsed. Always Shopping just took advantage of it. Was in the right spot at the right time, and Great Island shutting off Captain Craus. That was really nuts. Like halfway in the stretch, she just cuts in, cuts out. I'm like, God,
yeah, it's all over the place. I don't think Captain Craus gets there anyway. But
no.
It definitely cost. It most likely cost Captain Craus second. That's why Great Island had to come down here.
Well, and disqualification from second to third means jack shit when we're doing a pick four. So
yes, sir.
Doesn't affect us. We'll move on to the third leg. The headlining event of the Saturday card at Gulfstream Park is a $100,000 Grade 3 Mr. Prospector Stakes. Bunch of males going 7 furlongs on the main track here. Boy, I feel like we're going to be able to say we were both right about things when we disagreed on horses. And neither one of us got to Sleepy Eyes Todd. Let's talk about Sleepy Eyes Todd first, because after prepping for the show, I was sitting here looking at his PPs. I'm like, all right, I do this all the time. How did I not get to this horse? And a big reason for me, I said on the show, was that in the Lafayette Stakes, which he won at the Keeneland Saturday undercard, there was a breakdown in the stretch, top of the stretch, and a bunch of horses steadied, pulled out of there, Mind Control being one of them that got screwed up. Sleepy Eyes Todd wasn't, but I thought because so many horses got taken out, I was and remembering how that race finished, I don't want to play Sleepy Eyes Todd in this spot. I didn't think it was a good fit for him, and turns out I was wrong, because it was the perfect fit. Tyler Gaffalione avenges his poor effort in the last race and screws us both once again here. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, Sleepy Eyes Todd, first off, for me, would have been really tough to get to. I didn't respect this horse enough coming into this race. Like you said, his last race was marred with an incident that made you kind of wonder whether or not it was legit and what would have happened had everyone gotten their run. If you take that race out, the only other race that really is good enough to win this is the Charlestown Classic, which is a 3 turns around a bull ring, where he went wire to wire. And in this race is not a race where he's going wire to wire. He's going to have to come from off the pace. He did come off the pace. Gaffalione had him a little more forwardly placed than I expected in a 7 furlong race, and more forwardly placed than he was in that previous race. And he just ran big. I mean, this is kind of one of those situations where you now see a horse improving at 7 furlongs, and you kind of always saw some good efforts at that mile distance. So you knew that this might be something that he can be successful at. But this was a significant step up in class from True Timber. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, yeah, it was an undercard. It was a stakes race on the undercard of Keeneland, but it was not the same quality of horse that you saw in here, in my mind. You saw Grade 1 winners in this race, so I was a little more skeptical that he fit with this level. I'll have to reassess based on how this race went, though, because he ran well and he deserved to win this race, and he kicked away from him a little bit at the end. So you got to be impressed with what he's done late in his 4-year-old season to improve and get better.
How about Frenzy Fire? Because there seems to be some disagreement here. Frenzy Fire gets second. Was moving late. He wasn't going to... I mean, Sleepy Eyes Todd had that because of when he got the jump in the stretch, and that was a perfectly timed move from Tyler Gaffalione. I don't think Frenzy Fire bounced. He gets a 99 buyer, which, first of all, is the second best that he's had since he got rescued from Jason Service, but that puts him where he was at with the... That's better than when he won the True North. The only thing that's better so far is the Vosburg. He got a 101 for that earlier this year, but... I didn't think he took a bounce. I think we even said this was a race that came up much harder than the Cigar Mile did, and that was a Grade 1. And this just was a tougher spot for him, but I didn't have any issue with Frenzy Fire. Did you?
No, I thought he ran well and got beat. It's one of those struggles. He was the deserving favorite. Wasn't really ecstatic to have him as the favorite, right? Like, yeah. It was one of those situations where I'm 5 deep. I'm going to use the horse. I don't love the price on him. I mean, if Sleepy Eyes Todd doesn't run huge, he wins this race. And we're sitting here talking about Frenzy Fire winning, a second grade stakes in 3 tries. So it's one of those things where it's like, I think the horse ran well and just wasn't good enough against a Sleepy Eyes Todd performance that quite frankly surprised me.
Yeah, Mind Control, this is the one I was thinking we were both going to say we were right. I said I was against him because I don't think he's the same horse since he won the Toboggan to Tom Fool back in January and March of this year. And you were using him because you said throw out the Lafayette because he got screwed up in the stretch in that one and scratch out his 2 wet races, the Forgo and the Carter. And he fits here. We were both right. If only that paid the bills.
Yeah, right. I mean, I pat on the back, 12-1 in third. That's great, but 12 third doesn't really matter. So the Mind Control ran better. I don't think his career is over. I think you got to still think that he can compete in these 7 furlong races at the graded stakes level. I think that you're going to continue to get a price on him. I bet at some point in 2021 he wins a race at over 10-1 that you're surprised by. Because he's got that type of talent. He can have that race in him. He's going to be at that price. So this is one of those horses where you got to pick your right spot. When you get a ton of speed and it looks like it's going to collapse, you got to make sure you include Mind Control because he can come running.
Yeah, it was good to see like the flashes of him that could kick in when he needed to. I think that because, again, I think this race set up a lot like a Grade 1 field, at least especially for this time of year, that if you get him in like a Grade 3 Tom Fool, a Grade 3 Toboggan, a smaller class of foe that's not going to be, everybody trying to gear up for the Pegasus undercard. I think that's the place to play him, and I think especially if he leaves Gulfstream and goes back to Aqueduct where he is very successful in the past. If people don't adjust it from a betting perspective with the class difference there, I'm with you. I think that Mind Control could, and we'll be sitting here. We're not going to because we're going to effing play him, but we're going to be sitting here, other people's shows, and be like, how did we not have that horse at 12-1? He's won a grade 1 race before. We didn't have him? You and I are going to be like, yes, we had him because we talked about it on December 21st, damn it.
Yeah, well, you're dead on. And, I agree with this content, the idea that, he was and this is specifically about Frenzy Fire. He was a bad favorite here. He ran well, but he still lost. I would be much more upset if it was a horse that I thought was gettable. I would have had to go all to get the Sleepy Eyes Tied here, to be quite honest, because it wouldn't have been one of the first 6 or 7 horses I played. Whereas I do think Frenzy Fire had a legit shot to win this race, and like I said, if you didn't see that performance from Sleepy Eyes Tied, would have in this case. So for me, it would have been a lot more frustrating if this was even High Call, who you were high on, who other people were high on, who I was pretty much not that interested in. But man, I just Sleepy Eyes Tied for me just wasn't one of those horses I was getting to without the L button.
Yeah, I'm with you. We'll move on to the 4th and final leg of the late pick 4 sequence. The only one that we both got right, so, well, now we can both pat each other on the back here. We both this feels like we got done talking about Cigar Mile because we were like, hey, listen, Jack Sisterson, what did we learn from that? Is that he gets horses he runs them into shape and has them prepared for big days. And Kentucky Pharaoh was 20-1, and I can't remember if he was one of your top picks, but we both were like, you got to use him. He's on our tickets. We made compelling cases for him. And he goes gate to wire, but god damn it, where'd that 20-1 go? 5-1? Apparently we're not the only Cowboys that thought this horse could run.
Yeah, a little brutal, man. I'm not going to lie. This was a must-use horse for me. Must-use 20-1. You want to get some value out of it. And, yeah, the 5-1 off price wasn't great. I had this horse in every tournament, so getting 5-1 doesn't really help you get to the window like 21 does in tournaments. So it would have been nice if we could keep that price up. And as Michael mentions, this was Leparoux's maiden-breaking score here at this Gulfstream meet. So you'd think that maybe he doesn't get that. But, what he is good at is going to the front on the turf. I mean, that's the Leparoux specialty in my mind. That's what I expect when I'm looking for him. And, man, this was like I said on the show. When you have an American Pharaoh horse and it's Sisterson who runs his horses into shape, and you have those 2 grass workouts. I mean, that was the giveaway. I called this out on the show. The 47 and 2 around the dogs, 4:49. This horse was fast, and when you have a horse doing that well on the turf, and you have American Pharaoh pedigree that wants to go on the turf, stretching out with a clear inside speed advantage at Gulfstream. This was one of those where, I kind of wish I went too deep in this leg and really took a chance on the 11 and the 3, or even played the exacta, because, man, I had 11-3-4, and I didn't play the damn exacta with 3-4. So either of those would have been great. So it was nice to get to this race, but, man, it was frustrating in front of the sequence. And it's like, I'm going to harp on Sleepy Eyes Todd. I never would have had that horse. I would that was the one where it's like that horse winning knocked me out of this pick 4, unless I got to the all button there, which I never was getting to with the rest of the winners. So, it's one of those where it kind of sucks that because I know people in the chat are specifically mentioning this horse paid closer to 20-1 in the exotics, in the multi-race features, than 5-1 that it is off odds. So having this horse at the end of a pick 4, at the end of the pick 6, at the end of a pick 5, paid off a lot more because you got a lot closer to that 21 morning line price. A lot more people overlooked it. Once it opened up at 7-2, this horse got a lot more attention from the betting public, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, I kind of missed this. I should play this horse." And I think that's part of the reason why this horse got driven down in price. But yeah, Kentucky Pharaoh, I think this horse might be a legit turf threat. Like I actually was really impressed with this race too. So it'll be interesting to see where the next step is here, because I am guessing you are not going to see this horse at this level again. I mean, you know, the maiden special weight, obviously you're not going to see the maiden special weight, but I'm guessing you're going to see this horse go into a stakes race in the relatively near future.
I completely agree with you. A couple more points that we talked about on this show. The Dam struck the course, multiple Grade 2 winner in turf routes. So for me, I was like, well, he hasn't tried routing at Churchill Downs. A mile is one turn. I liked his back class. I mentioned that Caddo River, Mandaloon, Bob's Edge may or may not be showing up in the Fantasy League draft this coming Wednesday. So you had some horses there that were highly touted and respected, and now this makes them look even better. You mentioned Julian LePeroux getting off the snide, and Michael Myers brought it up. How about Jack Sisterson getting off the snide? Over 32 on the turf almost scared me off this horse. 3% dirt to turf. But yeah. I remembered that Cigar Mile True Timber discussion we had, and I was like, it's 20-1. Just do it. And I'd be a lot happier I did it if I hit the middle two legs. Yeah. But I was a little bummed because the 2 was my top choice, American Tryst at 10-1. It was Maker, it was Tyler Gaffleone. I was going to try the turf for the third time and ended up scratching, so I didn't get to see what happened with American Tryst. So I'm doubly excited that a horse I already like, Kentucky Pharaoh, came in here and was able to get it done.
Yeah, I'm excited to see American Tryst come back. I mean, there's another American Pharaoh horse, and the first time trying the turf, and that was for Maker. So we'll see where that one shows up, because I included that one on the ticket as well originally, and then we switched it up once that horse was scratched.
Were there any other horses in here who caught your eye, either from you're glad you played against, or maybe someone you want to stable up next time?
Not really. I think that the 4 who ran second here after running third in debut, He's Pure Gold, is interesting. I'm not sure you're getting a good price on him next time out. I think this might have been the chance to get He's Pure Gold home at a price, and you know, he was 440 to going off a 10-1 morning line. So again, it's another horse that was bet down from a bigger price. I would expect you see him to be bet down again in the next start, and especially since you're going to get second off the layoff. But that's a horse where you might actually be able to single it up next time if you get it against the right field. So I'm going to keep He's Pure Gold in mind if I can find a way to play this horse and get anywhere more near a decent price, or use it as a single in pick 4, pick 5.
Well, it helps too that he debuted routing on the turf. Took a little bit of time off, comes back 2 months later for his second start. Again, routes on the turf. Definitely an improved effort. Let's see. I didn't see what the buyer figures here. 79 for Kentucky Pharaoh. That's pretty good. 72 for He's Pure Gold, building off the 64 for his debut.
And he also was the only person who made up any ground. I mean, if you look at how the race was won, Kentucky Pharaoh goes around. The horse that runs third, Courageously, ran second the entire way. He's Pure Gold came from fifth. Horse that runs fourth, Girl Dad, ran third the whole time around. So you literally had a merry-go-round with one horse making a move. And when that horse making a move against the pace setup, you have to respect that horse next time out.
Let's go back to Friday night. Remington Park had their biggest night of the year, the Springboard Mile card. Of course, we're going to talk about the big race itself, the Springboard Mile. You had a field of 10 juveniles going a mile, which is a 2-turn route at Remington Park on the dirt. This was an interesting one because Kentucky Derby, they announced, Twin Spires, I guess, announced that for the Kentucky Derby points series, any horse that runs on Lasix in a points race and earns points does not actually earn those points. So we all found that out, I think, 2 days before, a day or two before the race. Everybody else seemed to know, just not us. But with that in mind, only 2 horses in here were even eligible for points. Cohen. I always say Cow. Cohen ends up getting 4 points for finishing second. But Senior Buscador, I want to do a big tip of the hat to Aaron Halchman because this was the top pick at RacingDudes.com on the free preview at 15-1. Again, situation like Kentucky Pharaoh, where you
didn't get 15-1. No.
Where'd that price go? $390 ends up being the third choice in this race, but man, this horse has got a kick to circle when he needs to go, Mike. He effing goes, gets the job done. What'd you think?
I mean, dead last around the turn. This horse made a lot of sense. I was shocked by that 15-1 morning line. We were planning on doing a live show, and so I put a ticket up for it. Ended up hitting it. This was the horse I had on there too. And so when Aaron has it as a top pick, I'm using the horse. I'm like 15-1 is probably not likely. Would have been nice to get 8-1 or something like that.
Close.
this race really set up well for a closer, and that was one of the things that when I tweeted out the pick 4 ticket I gave out, I mentioned, I love out the door. I'm against out the door here. Trying to get a mile near the front of this race, it just was going to be really tough because there's a lot of sprint speed in this race, and so you had a lot of horses that were stretching out in distance who wanted to be near the lead sprinting, and that's really what you got from a pace perspective. They went hot up front, 23-2, 47-1, and you could tell by the come home fractions they slowed down a little bit. So we went from 47-1, 112-2, 125-3, came home in a mile, 137-4, not exactly blistering fast. And Senor Buscador took up the slack and ran right on by, dead last, coming around the turn. And this is the opposite of what we talked about last time. The last race where we were just talking about on the turf where, the horse went wire to wire and everyone was relatively close. This is one where, the winner came from 10th. The second place horse came from 6th. The third place horse came from 7th. So it was really favoring the closers. And you saw Senor Buscador take advantage of that. Because of that, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not going to play this horse next time out unless you have a similar pace set up because the time isn't great. I don't think he beat a ton considering how pace compromised a lot of the better horses in this race were. And you look at Cohen, who to me is more of a sprinting horse who wants to be up close. Like, I don't think that this was the best setup for Cohen. He ran well, but I don't think this was the style of race he wants to run in. So for me, I think if you can get a price against Senor Buscador, who I think was flattered by the visual appearance of him rolling by horses that were running slower than Magic, I think that this is a horse that you can use again or play against next time out and possibly get miss the funeral.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I think there's a lot to unpack. So Senor Buscador was my top pick in this race as well. For a very different reason than Aaron or even you. I'm a big fan of his dam. She produced Runaway Ghost, who was a Sunland Park Derby winner a few years ago. She gave us another nice horse at the time, Sheriff Brown, between COVID and then he got hurt in the spring, completely threw him off track. But a really talented family should have been able to handle stretching out to the 2 turns. One of my big concerns is this is 2 starts for Senor Buscador. Both times, it's not that he likes to trail, it's that he's slow out of the gate. And you can't do that when you leave Remington and you go to Fairgrounds or you go to Oaklawn and you're facing the Asmussens, the Coxes, the Baffords. You can't get away with that shit at those tracks. So that's a concern I have. I also, with this field, you said sprint speed. I chucked about 90% of this field. There were only 2 that I actually was going to play to win, was Senor Buscador and then number 1 dude playing the Oklahoma bred. Those are the only 2 that I was like, I think they can handle this distance. The rest of them, I had no clue. Cohen getting second, coming from off the pace like that, surprised me pleasantly because I thought that this is a horse that is going to be best served sprinting. He's probably going to return to that, but yeah. I don't want anything to do with Senor Buscador either, especially if he goes to Oaklawn. The tendency in the past has been the Springboard's top horses often go to the Smarty Jones Stakes at Oaklawn, which is a 2-turn mile, but at Oaklawn, a mile race means they finish at the 16th pole. Senor Buscador, they're going to have to hit go on him when he straightens out on the backstretch if they want to time this kind of a move right to get a job done at Oaklawn. So I'm with you. All that to say, I'm with you. Senor Buscador getting a 93 buyer, very impressive, one of the best of juveniles all year. I don't know if I want to play him next year.
No, this is one of those that like I said, I'm going to be against. I was 4 deep here. I used the 1, Senor Buscador, the 8, Cohen, the 10, Joe Frazier, and the 11, Flash and Mischief. I'm not interested in any of them coming back, to be honest with you. I think Cohen should get back to what Cohen is good at, and that is turf sprinting. But we'll see what happens. I thought it was worth playing because I specifically don't like Asmussen turf sprinting. So if a horse turf sprints well, I'm going to use it going a mile if it's Asmussen because it should be better. But anyway, yeah, no, I don't love anyone out of here, and I think the best horse probably won, and I'm fading that horse. So that should tell you what I think of the rest of the field.
Boy, if you thought we were excited about that race, wait till we get to tell you about the Saturday Los Alamitos Futurity, Grade 2 $200,000 Tough Luck Bob Invitational at Los Al. Why is that? Because Bob Baffert has now won this race 13 times, including all 7 years it's been held at Los Alamitos. I don't understand how he won this race, and at the same time, I don't understand how he almost lost this race. Spielberg was $1 million horse. Del Mar in the summer, everybody's raving about this is going to be Baffert's Breeders' Cup Juvenile horse. I was hearing the same amount of hype about him that I was about Princess Nor, and you know how big I was on Princess Nor. And this horse finishes second to Dr. Scheibel. All right, well, Dr. Scheibel's going to the Greatest Stakes. Let's put him in the Greatest Stakes. Loses again to Dr. Scheibel. Barely breaks his maiden and then gets his ass beat in the Bob Hope going 7 furlongs. A lot of those horses come back and somehow Spielberg ends. I hate this race.
I love Spielberg. I'm looking forward to drafting him 4th overall in the Racing Dudes draft. And if he falls to us at 17, we're taking him there as well. Yeah, a hard pass on everybody in this race. We'll just put it that way. Although I will say I have some interest in the 3 now, just a little bit, because the horse is named the Great One, which is Eric Johnson, who owns the horse, is a hockey player for the Colorado Avalanche. And him naming a horse after Wayne Gretzky makes me wonder whether or not there's some talent in there. So it was interesting to see this horse take a monster step forward. Like, this is a huge step forward for the Great One, considering the 3-race seed run. So I'll be interested to see what that horse does next time out. But it's surely a name and ownership play, not really like, hey, I think this horse might be ultra talented type play.
Yeah, when I saw that he got entered here, I thought, I was like, there's a really strong chance that this maiden, who's never finished better than 4th, was 13 lengths behind Spielberg when that horse barely broke his maiden. I was like, there's a good chance he could hit the board, because Doug O'Neill is aggressive with his horses, but it often pays off for him. When he puts in a maiden that's never finished better than 4th in this low self-futurity, yeah, sure, he's looking at the field going, yeah, this isn't that great of a field. Like, this is who Baffert's bringing? Okay. But at the same time, he had a lot of faith here. This horse looks like he was, talented on turf, was 4th beaten just 2 lengths and on going a route of ground at Del Mar in his last start. So going off of the Mike Samich angle that low sal plays well to turf horses, yeah, I could see him coming in here. But man, this was just what a disgusting. I hate that he lost the head bob, because I wanted Tough Luck Bob's winning streak in this race to end. I wanted it to stop being the Bob Baffert Invitational, and it keeps going off of the dirtiest of bobs, and I just don't like it.
Well, yeah, it's not great. I wish that I kind of don't love this race at Los Al anyway. My disdain for Los Alamitos only grew with the 2 pick 6 carryovers this week, and like the results are just like, throw your hands up. Good luck at getting all these horses. I will continue to say though, the turf form does carry over very well to this racetrack. So turf to the Los Al dirt, I think, is a great angle here. You saw that speed on turf from the Great One really carry over well. It was interesting too that you saw 3 of the 6 horses come off of turf races to enter this. So, it is interesting to see this kind of push toward turf horses running in these stakes. And I take all these Los Al stakes with a grain of salt, man, because it's such a unique racetrack. And that's being nice. It's just an interesting configuration, and the stretch is monstrously long, and you see specific horses run very well over it and others not. So I'm not going to take too much out of this. I'm probably fading the Great One if he goes back to dirt. I'm definitely fading Spielberg if he goes back to dirt. That horse has burnt so much freaking money. It's ridiculous. And yeah, I don't think any of these horses are really Derby gate contenders. I guess Spielberg might make the gate.
Well, because he's gonna. I mean, his trainer just keeps pushing him into these races. He's going to be into Bob Lewis next year and try and get some more points that way. God, this is a big reason I just don't like Spielberg like at all, is because this is such an un-Bob Baffert type horse. You don't see him start a juvenile 6 times in its juvenile year with as hard as he trains, and then see them develop further as 3-year-olds. I mean, he gets he had an 81 buyer, I think, for this, which is less than he got for breaking his maiden, which was an 83. There's just nothing about the way Bob has handled this horse feels like, 81. Nothing about him feels like a standard Bob Baffert horse, which is race him a few times, peak on the big day, and then they disappear. So this horse, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he's going to disappear anytime soon for us. Yeah,
and we talk about that. Like, I usually fade Baffert second time out if they don't win first time out, because you don't see that much improvement. You'll occasionally see it from the superstars, but usually the superstars win first time out. And so generally he's a heavy favorite second time out, where horses I don't think have that big a step forward. Yeah, he wins at a 26% clip, but when your horses are going off even money second time out and you're winning 26%, that's not good. That's actually quite bad. So, he's one of those guys where you kind of see the talent early in their career, and if it's not there, you don't expect them to develop into a monster horse.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Magic Mike Show in terms of looking at the Gulfstream Park 4 ticket and the two Derby preps. Is anything happening this Saturday, Mike? Is anything big happening in racing? I'm not sure.
Oh, I think Santa Anita might be doing something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, are they? Oh, is it Malibu Day? Oh, is it Monday and Santa Anita already has the whole overnight card out for Saturday? Wow.
True story,
wow.
Yeah.
God bless you, Santa Anita. I'm so excited about that. Yeah, so it's the Malibu weekend. Malibu Saturday at Santa Anita, 6 graded stakes races. That late pick 5 I looked at, and I don't usually go after pick 5s, but that pick 5 looks mighty juicy. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got the Malibu guide. Aaron Halterman is not in the background because he's hard at work putting that together right now. So the inside track wagering guide to the Malibu Stakes will be available probably, I'd say, by Wednesday morning. Let's give Jared a little bit of time. Wednesday afternoon, it'll be available. But you can go to racenews.com right now if you get any of the 30-day packages or higher. This is automatically included with you, so that is the best bang for the buck. While you're there, check out the Summer Bombs. Mike Samich is... you didn't hit this weekend, but I know that you had one bad weekend and all the boo birds suddenly come out and forget the fact that you were doing so well before that. But overall, you've been doing very well at Gulfstream.
Yeah, we're up 2,600 for the month, so it's okay.
How dare you? Yeah, how dare you be up 2,600?
Yeah. So it was not great this weekend. It was one horse here and there that we just didn't have. Not going to have Summer Bombs on Christmas on the 25th, but we'll be back at 2 tracks on the 26th to make up for that. So you'll see that at Santa Anita and Gulfstream on the 26th, and then also on the 31st, I am planning to have a full Bombs card since we're going to have a mandatory payout in the Naira Pick 6 at Aqueduct as well. So we are going to be venturing out from Gulfstream Park a little bit this week, but the next Bombs Day is going to be Saturday the 26th with 2 racetracks. And then we'll be back at it the 27th, and then we'll be back around the 31st and 1st and roll right into that new year, hopefully staying hot.
That's pretty awesome. I was making lots of jokes. You've been great at Gulfstream. I know I've been joking, but as far as, we didn't talk about this beforehand, as far as this weekend goes, I got the green light that we can cover the Malibu card for our Pick 4 show this week. You're going for it?
Yeah.
Cool. So normally we do these on Thursdays. However, Thursday is Christmas Eve. I am open if you are, but I'm not the one with the 2.5-year-old and family in the area.
I doubt Thursday night will work, so we're going to have to. We will find a time and we'll post it up on Twitter so everyone knows what time it is on Twitter that we're going to actually do it. Yeah, Thursday we're doing Christmas dinner over at my parents, and that's right. That'll be like right when we shoot. So maybe we'll end up doing it early Thursday because I'm off on Thursday, so just playing Santa and nothing else. So maybe we'll do it early Thursday, and so everyone can watch the show live around lunchtime and then roll right into it. And then Saturday. Yeah, we also have the draft in like 2 days.
On Wednesday night, yeah.
So we got to talk so we'll be live for the draft on Wednesday night, and then maybe Thursday morning we do the pick 5 and or pick 4. We can do either. I don't mind going after a pick 5 if you want to. We can take it from there.
Oh God, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Not because it's Christmas, it's just because it's the Malibu Stakes opening day. That card looks loaded. It's gonna be like 11 races to kick things off. Also, speaking of Santa Anita, I might have a special treat for you guys later Tuesday afternoon. I don't know if I'll be able to do something video with it, but there'll definitely be a podcast, a super sneaky secret podcast coming out with some information for you for Santa Anita as well. So make sure you stay tuned to that. You can follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Keller. He's at SummerBomb18, number 1, number 8, Corporate Overlords. At racing_dudes. Remember, go to racenews.com. We'll have preview for the Malibu Stakes will be up probably by the time, if you're listening to this recorded later, give me about 2 hours. I'll have that Malibu preview up and done. Aaron is done handicapping it. The guide will be available. Make sure you check out racenews.com and pay attention to that. Until next time, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this week, and we'll see you whenever beforehand to talk about Malibu and all that fun stuff. And yeah, we'll just... I'm so excited. It's Malibu time.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.